Hello and welcome everyone. This is Blackadder at Blackadder's Place and I welcome you to today's stream. We are going to be having some more Age of Mythology and it's going to be of course the second round of the qualification for the main event for the Voobly Champions League 3 by Boit and the community. And it is going to be TIGERBOSS versus Sensui. Actually coincidentally 3 matches at once currently going on. One of them not being streamed, Hellstravich versus Symptom. I will be doing recorded games after, most probably, after this match, if it's not gonna be too long. And then there's also Count von Khan, who is streaming Mahde versus Yoshi. So, 3 matches at once, and we are going to be there for having an opportunity to watch Gold Rush again. That's actually coincidentally something that we have seen yesterday between Jorge and Starko. So we do have quite a bit of an experience with the maps. Got a pendant, one of the relics in here. And the civilizations are going to be Sensui, no, what else then, of course, Atlantean with Oranos and Loki Logos. Magyar is not playing in the tournament, he's just having some fun games in the community. It's not entirely like, at least hasn't claimed that it would be anything serious, just kind of wanting to be playing some games for fun. No, and we are going to be having TIGERBOSS on the other side, who's gonna be playing with Atlantean as well. So this is actually promising to be a fairly cool entertainment, in my opinion, with maybe just with slightly different schools of play. No, frankly, Sensui is a school of his own, if you know how he plays and his history and whatnot. So we'll see how he's gonna be able to perform. Of course, right now the standard economical guild, which is gonna be providing probably classic advance in like the 430, probably shouldn't be anything too extremely specific between the players. And we are going to be therefore having the gold mines, one of them a bit kind of like unnecessarily forward at this point for TIGERBOSS. The second is of course gonna be quite a bit safer, but as an Atlantean, yeah, you're just gonna drop a manor next to it and you're gonna be fine. No problem whatsoever. As on the other side, it will be fairly similar. Can say nice is going to be there for the gold mine in good position too. Back one should have been those Sensui gathering from the front gold so that he can be keeping potentially the back one as a backup in case something is going to be going wrong in the front of his base, which apparently isn't going to be the case now. And well, still waiting potentially for the second relic, but in general this map is fairly standardized as far as the spawns. Can say right now the deer are gonna be in decent places. And we are going to be also having some extra berries, but nothing really too extreme or even actually low on the other side. And on the other hand, of course, as Gold Rush, you'll be kind of thinking there's gonna be plenty of gold in the middle of the map that you need to be going for and into once the game is gonna be reaching somewhat, I don't know, some 15 minutes maybe of game time, a bit earlier than that probably. Bit earlier than that altogether. I'll see at about 3 minutes. Now that should be already some signal for a temple from blue. Red is gonna be doing the same, so yeah, you can say nice. It's gonna be a standard 430 advance for all involved. Sensui already prepared and ready. After this villager to be clicking in the advance time, and he's gonna be moving for further piggies in the middle. You can see even the bears are gonna be quite a bit helpful with the food here for the red player. There he has Prometheus absolutely the same time, second away from the like perfection we could be saying, but no problem at all. Maybe could have been keeping that one villager that is a bit damaged already at home, but he apparently already did that, so maybe could have been switching on the wood, but it would have been some longer time there already. As all the way here to the south, you're going to be having some kind of look into what kind of distribution of villas he has. You can see he's gonna be having one on wood here. Should be fairly standardized. I mean, like with Atlanteans, you can't be too creative at the start. Needs to be practically the same. You can see already protecting the food here. It's a bit of a difference here between him and Sensui. Sensui is still not having the manor. He's gonna be having to drop it anyway. Looking at the cows, you do have 12 for him. On the other hand, it's gonna be 12 as well for blue. So far, quite a good end. Fair and square beginning. And by the way, for the maps for this match, it is going to be there for where I have them. There we have them: Gold Rush, Savannah, Frozen Wastes, Alfheim, and Sheltered Pass. Considering that I'm expecting it's probably gonna be some Oranos war maybe all the way through, I wouldn't be surprised of that all that much. Maybe TIGERBOSS is gonna be switching to something like, I think he plays even Greeks if I'm not mistaken, but trying to right now remember from the past tournament experiences that I have cast him, but yeah, well, I definitely do remember him with Oranos, but I'm thinking some Greeks might have been there as well. Currently, most of the players are multi-godders, so they are able to play pretty recently. Anyway, okay, Shockwave right about now up, and here obviously doesn't have the Valor, or he kinda does, but he doesn't want to be using it, as you can tell. By the way, that reminds me, I wonder what would have happened to the village if he was actually Valored during the flight of the Shockwave. I think it should have been just kind of like disrupting the animation, in my opinion. Because practically the villages are changing identity into different unit. That's why they stopped doing what they were doing before. I need to be retasking them. You just can like really change ID practically in the games. So I think it might be also the same idea beyond that. With pop limit for Sensui a lot lower. You can see started quite a bit later. 1 and 1. On the other side you can see looking at the units it's gonna be the same. It's an interesting jump in there of the Promethean. But nonetheless, into kind of like nothingness in there. But you're gonna be having currently the same pop limit. I'm gonna be slightly curious that we don't use from Sensui. Maybe like one of the citizens to help out at least with the Oracle on the left. Thinking it wouldn't be too much of a bad choice. As you can see, there gonna be some kind of interesting micro here. Probably not even too much. Seemed like a general melee. Looking at the hit points though, this is definitely villager fightable. Yeah, I'm really thinking he missed an opportunity Sensui in there. Sending like one villager to help the fight could have been probably even enough to turn it into his advantage. Might have been more than enough to give him some kind of good result. But nonetheless, apparently not gonna be there for having too much of a good fun with the early result. TIGERBOSS is gonna be getting another Valor for the opponent. He still hasn't cast, he has cast the first one at least. But he's at this point gonna be at a bit of a disadvantage because he was waiting. And he's gonna be just delayed on the quality of the units, which is not entirely that much of a great news for him overall. Dropping the manor down, that's actually a serious problem, because he's house already now. And he's gonna be right now needing to build 2, which he can. He just kinda is kinda not caring about that too much. Husbandry coming. Husbandry? I mean, like, sure, plenty of food, but on the other hand, I'll be probably going for tower instead of for that gold. Thinking that the towers actually would have been somewhat nice idea. As you can see, Sensui is trying to take the fight elsewhere and seeing if TIGERBOSS is gonna be biting. No, I mean, like, he doesn't have too much of a reason to do so, though. It should have very well started for him. And yeah, taking down the towers, I think he's making very good sense. Because it's not entirely unlikely that those might be getting researched anyway. But so far seems like it's gonna be apparently switch into Capability for Sensui. As this one was more useless. This one is a bit more interesting regarding the gold mine. And remember what we said at the start. You always should be first gathering from the one that is unsafe, so that you have something to fall back upon. And right now Sensui has basically depleted already almost the back one. And therefore, once he's gonna be fully off, he's gonna be having to go forward into worse position. In a worse position in the game himself, he is in already. So you can see right now this is gonna be probably directly biting him in the arse in this game. So yeah, be careful and do it like TIGERBOSS is. It's the proper way to play it. No, well, nonetheless, new manor, bit random, doesn't seem to be really caring too much about it. It seems like pop limit obviously, as Sensui has taken the defensive position in his base already. Still doesn't have to be meaning that he's gonna be completely screwed. I mean, like, economy is working somewhat alright for both. It's obviously gonna be a bit slower hunt versus herdables and whatnot. You can see right now the get rates for the villages with husbandry currently 197 against 2.4. So there is a difference of about, I don't know, 20% approximately. So that's not a small difference at all. It's gonna be in the span of a minute, just getting like 50 more food. And obviously it's gonna be allowing you to do a lot more with the game, with population limit actually still though kept pretty decent for Sensui. And be quite a bit high on the, I mean, like, the gold is gonna be his problem really. At this point that's something that TIGERBOSS needs to be realizing based on how Sensui is gathering the resources. Okay, some more Cairo Ballistae. Actually having 5 of them is quite a bit nice already. It's gonna be a pretty big problem. We don't have kind of the highest hit points from the earlier fights for TIGERBOSS. You can say about now Valor into the middle by Sensui. Not entirely too much of a terrible idea and plan. Just the difference is, and something to be careful about, that the unit's gonna like again change priority or change identity, and therefore you're gonna be getting yourself a few seconds of idle time, like they Murmillos raising the swords and whatnot. So if you cast into the middle of the fight, you actually are going to be losing some DPS there. So I'm kind of thinking casting it into the middle is not entirely the best of ideas, as opposed to something like Chaos or Curse. That's a lot better situation there, but nonetheless you can say now the Kero Ballista is certainly paying off pretty damn well. Once it isn't dead, as he was trying to snipe the Kero, at least succeeded in his task. It's a like an interesting commitment with the will, but nonetheless gonna be able to get away with it, as it's gonna be suddenly resulting into Sensui from quite a difficult position, getting into a fairly decent fight. I'm thinking this wasn't needed. This didn't really net him anything interesting. He was probably just gonna feeling elated a bit by a good result of the previous fight, so he was maybe wanting to capitalize on that even more. But yeah, again, he didn't need to be doing that, and this is actually a fairly smart little play here by Blue. He's trying to get into the Kairos from behind, because they are the problem currently for him, but unfortunately didn't yield the necessary result. No, and now he's gonna be finding himself in a bit of a bad spot, but you can see the Kairos just sprinting away. He's gonna die, probably. No, yeah, he should, but it's gonna be costing actually quite a lot TIGERBOSS, so he shouldn't have pursued, in my opinion. He's gonna be having way too much of a TC loss from that. And, well, as it looked really grim for Mr. from Brazil, it's gonna be apparently right now the exact opposite for Santa Mr. from Turkey. Okay then, so you can say right now hand axe and pickaxe probably should be the same here. Yes, it obviously is. As with the resources, you can see even Sensui theoretically close to heroic, but that's right now gonna be the problem with the gold he has to be solving. He does have right now the front one still in his base, so considering how the game currently is, he's gonna be alright. But he already needs to be thinking about the next ones, but that will be tied through heroic age. You can say now he's gonna be having very good timing compared to TIGERBOSS, though it has to be also said that TIGERBOSS is not gonna be like too behind in too much of a bad shape. Too much of a bad shape indeed, and this is gonna be actually gathered very quickly with so many wells on it. I wonder if it would be... no, wouldn't. I was kinda thinking if it would be worthwhile to go for some gold mine a bit on the outskirts, but frankly even the outskirts are mid-map here, where the army is gonna be probably moving, so not much of a necessity in them. You can say it now 2 and 2, quite well prepared here for TIGERBOSS. There's the Thea, in the end fairly similar advance time. Towers researched. No, I think it's a bit too late for that. At this point it's not gonna be too useful, unless he's gonna be planning towers on the gold mines, maybe in the middle. At that point possibly it's gonna be somewhat of an interesting upgrade in my opinion. That could then possibly work somehow. And you can see also he doesn't have the upgrade into the medium Murmillos, so that's one of the differences here and what allowed him to be getting a bit faster into the heroic age. Okay, Plow, of course. Copper mail right now for TIGERBOSS. On the other side, we don't have that yet. Spirit tree, kind of like interestingly randomly positioned next to the base. In the end, at least he's gonna be keeping it safe from being potentially stolen from the other side. So it's making sense that way. I guess you can say it now. It's gonna be a similar idea from TIGERBOSS here. Like absolutely the same idea. But I'm really liking this build up here by TIGERBOSS because it's not random. He had hunters here, sure, but it also serves right now a secondary purpose of getting on the TC and the gold. So this is really kind of nicely thinking ahead in there for TIGERBOSS, whereas Sensui he's gonna be still having to... Sorry, sneeze is coming up on me. Gonna be having to somehow work towards that still. And that is gonna be the potential next hurdle. If, for example, TIGERBOSS managed to drop a palace somewhere here, that would be pretty huge problem for Sensui to get through into the gold mines there, because you can see this one is gonna be almost out quite a bit inevitably. Even immediate Hecate is very interesting choice. Can say it now, TIGERBOSS he invested rather into upgrades. I mean, like, it's not a terrible idea, because if he's gonna be jumping a bit quicker, then the Tartarian Gate is gonna be having potentially higher effect, because it's gonna be harder to deal with for TIGERBOSS. I think it's a fairly decent plan. Gold out, aiming for the Chaos. Oh, he just kind of selected all the army and ran away. Yeah, that's something you really shouldn't be doing. Because the Chaos, slowest unit, they're gonna be tending to get it to the back of the pack, and therefore towards actually the enemy. So better be careful about the selections, always talk about it, but people still are gonna be reacting in the spot kind of like automatically a bit. I can understand that it's hard to kind of learn not to do that, but it is a good idea how to improve potentially our chances in the games. But nonetheless, Lampade's coming forward, much more importantly Tartarian Gate to the right, which didn't destroy practically anything. Like it's gonna be blocking possibly this TC, but even though maybe gonna be nicer to cast somewhere here. I don't know, but nonetheless, it's gonna be still quite a serious problem currently for blue. And looking at right now the pop limit, Sensu is in a pretty good spot, and he's gonna be having medium or Melanos, good. Nothing further. On the other hand, we're gonna be having copper shields, for example, to help against the Chaos, and of course, gold right now available for Sensui. I just do wonder if he's gonna be committing to some protection of that, or if he's just gonna be right now going for the kill. It's kind of like hard to say what's gonna be better, frankly, because I'm thinking he's in a pretty good spot to maybe even really get the kill if he plays it right. Or, in a way, if he doesn't make too many mistakes. It's a really kind of tough position for TIGERBOSS, frankly. Kenzie right now even doesn't have too much of a chance to get himself into the Mythical Age, and he can be effectively really gold star, because you can see right now he's using Citizen dead. No, it's not too great. Second looks definitely dead as well here. Yep. Wow, he doesn't even kill it right now, stayed with the army. But nonetheless, with the help of the TC and the tower, it's gonna be done, and the GG is gonna be already called. As well, of course, the full campaign on the left side, I was gonna wanting to show it as well, but it was kind of just like no defense in there from TIGERBOSS, so it wasn't important as far as, for example, the Tartarian Gate was. No, and therefore, Sensui is gonna be right about now really wanting to get into the third round, and he's gonna be leading 1-0 in the best of 5. So, well played. Survived quite a clinical death and terrible situation in the Classical Age, but in the end, well, switching to the Chaos was absolutely the correct and very nicely executed decision. Even though the gold mines, oh, I know the challenge, but he did prevail. That's of course the important part. Well, 200 for 500 to the top, about 1300 resources more for TIGERBOSS. And it still wasn't any good. You can see right now civilian high 1915, since we just kind of like didn't get more, because he was popped for a long time in there, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see the ratios. Very good game. And this is gonna be definitely promising quite a good fun for the rest of the match as well. Excellent. GG.